So, so why is this so important that we're going to Tofino?
So there's this hotel called the Wicked Inn, and it's got this epic place like right on the beach.
Yeah.
And Tofino is like pretty epic as far as beaches go.
Yeah.
And the restaurant, it has like this round glass casing all around it, and then it looks right over the ocean with the waves crashing, on the rocks, and then the food is very good. It's my favorite breakfast in the whole world.
Okay, so it's definitely worth a 500-kilometer day to go out there, eh?
Yeah, especially if it's not costing us any gas.
Yeah, and they have Tesla chargers there right at the hotel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's showing that we have 211 kilometers to go to the destination and 388 kilometers of range. So we'll see how that averages out. It's 10 degrees out, so a bit cooler, and we'll see how that all works out afterwards. Interesting thing about this whole drive is going to be, it's like 9 degrees Celsius out, so it's not really super warm right now, and I want to kind of see how that range affects the battery as we go along this mountain road. Okay, let's see if it takes this first exit here on Navigate. It'll be a good test.
Now take exit 60 on the right.
Well, I guess I have to do it. Okay, so kind of interesting there. We had this huge spike in the mountain road where we passed that truck. So we wanted to get past it. Not only was it going 50 kilometers an hour, but it was also a good chance of flinging rocks. So we wanted to get past it. But then now that we've gone through this huge uphill, we're getting our first real opportunity in the car to see steady regen. And we're getting a really good regen going back down. So I'm curious to see how much recovery we get based off of all of that climb that we did. Going in there so far. Okay, so we are about 60 kilometers away here, showing 206 kilometers of range, and we've been pretty effective here as far as our energy consumption is. Now, if you look, the original prediction line was around 33, and we're now predicting 29% at destination, so a little bit of a loss there, but again, with the cooler temperatures, that kind of makes sense for what we could have been expecting, but overall not bad. And again, we're gonna get there, and we do have a Tesla charger apparently there.
So we are driving into the Wicked Inn. I've never actually stayed there, but they have my favorite restaurant in the whole world.
Now turn right into Osprey Lane.
Well, it's better be pretty good. So we're arriving with 140 kilometers showing of range. So that's pretty close to what we predicted at the beginning. I think it was saying like 31 or 32%, and we're down to about 29 now, so not too far off at all from what it predicted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's see what their charging setup is, because that's critical.
Yes.
They say they have Tesla chargers. I did call them. Okay, so we do have two Tesla chargers here. It looks like there's some other universal ones as well. So that definitely makes this place awesome in my eyes, because we can come out here now and plug in. We'll see what kind of charge rates we get. Okay, so we've kind of settled everything in here. We're getting about 60 kilometers per hour at 48 amps. So at home we have the NEMA 1450 plug, and we're getting about 48 kilometers an hour. So this show, it's my first time using one of the standard Tesla ones. So I guess 60 kilometers an hour is normal. Yeah, it says about 4 hours to an 80% charge. We'll probably be kind of around and poking around the beach for a few hours and eating and all of that. So guarantee we're going to get more than enough charge to replace what it took to drive here and get us back to the supercharger in Nanaimo.
You need to be aware of for anyone with drink preferences, anything like that.
Okay.
Wow. That is perfection. What a cool restaurant. Wow. And we're filming each other. Yum. Okay, so breakfast is done, and now we're just gonna head to downtown Tofino. Apparently there's a couple of free chargers there, and walk around the town, and then head back to the, what, Nanaimo Supercharger? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we get that 2 years of free supercharging, so we wanna use that up and go home with more charge than when we left. Nice. And we got juice. So this is definitely one of the cool things about using these destination chargers is you take a few minutes to walk around and check these towns out. Okay, so basically the girls are stopping at this information booth to go to the bathroom, and as I'm looking at this, it's saying 6%. That's my first time I've ever seen it going to the red like that, and it told me to maintain my speed at 85 kilometers an hour. So maybe it averages out how hilly and mountainous the terrain is going to be and like the average speeds and all that. So it's a bit close, but luckily this Pacific Rim National Park does have EV charging. I'm going to plug in for a little bit to give us a 10% buffer on that end. Well, that is not exactly the fast charging I was hoping for. It is free, and it was useful while you guys were peeing.
We have gotten 3 kilometers.
3 kilometers. But I have a feeling I am not going to stand for this patience, and I'm going to just take the risk to get to the supercharger. Okay, so we just got through from the mountains from Tofino there, and it is nervous. This is probably the lowest I've ever got the battery down to. So we're sitting right now at 88 kilometers of range, something like 17% or whatever it is. And yeah, it shows us 88 kilometers range to go. We have 55 kilometers to our destination, but we're still kind of in this hilly mountainous region by Cathedral Grove. So we've been maintaining pretty good speed. That's the lowest average for economy I've ever got as far as the watt hours per kilometer. So that's good. But yeah, a little bit nerve-wracking for sure, getting lower than 10% by the time we get to the supercharger. So we'll see how it turns out. Well, when we got here and stopped, it actually gave us a warning for low battery. And the cool part is what it predicted when we left is pretty much the exact same as when we arrived. So the predicted energy loss was pretty reliable, especially for the fact that we were on a mountain road. So we'll get charging up here. Okay, and there we go. Now there are 1, 2, 3 other cars here supercharging, so we might not get the full rate, but right now we're getting pretty close up there, around 780 kilometers per hour. I think the highest I've seen here is around 900 kilometers per hour, so that's pretty good. Pretty happy little car here to get some juice. So after a couple seconds of waiting here, we are at a pretty good rate here. Out of the 150 offer here, we got 144 coming in. That's pretty good with these other cars here as well, and just wicked speed. So it's saying about 30 minutes to get up to 80%. 150 kilowatts we're getting here, almost 1,000 kilometers an hour, pretty good. What do you think, ladies?
It's great.
Time to go. Time to go poke around the mall. Tasha was getting a bit sick on that run, but she's being a good sport. Yeah. So what are we gonna do? Go to the mall?
Yes.
Okay. There she be, all charged up and good to go. Well, having a chapters right there is brilliant. It is warm. Oh, what do we do there? Perfecto. Nice. Okay, so back home after a long day of driving. It was about 530 kilometers that we drove today, going from the Comox Valley on one side of Vancouver Island all the way over to the other side to Tofino. Beautiful drive, beautiful spot. This was my first long drive, and one thing I learned here is that no matter where you're going and what kind of chargers they have, it's always good to charge up to full, because I left at like, what, 80%, just over 400 kilometers, and I could have used that extra range just to have a bit more of a breathing space, because I was counting on these destination chargers to kind of keep it up, but at 60 kilometers per hour, they're really not going super fast. They're obviously designed for overnight parking, and I kind of over-assumed what they would give us while we were sitting there in Tofino. It only took like maybe less than an hour for lunch, and then driving around, and 20 minutes exploring the town. So definitely I learned to charge to full if you're going to go on a trip. And again, we took a little detour down to the Supercharger on the way back, and that was just to top off because it's free for 2 years, and I'm going to use that up. And yeah, we ended up getting, we left around 400 kilometers. We came back around 370. So we really used almost nothing of our own charge in order to do that whole trip. And there was really no cost to the driving itself. So pretty amazing. There's no car I've ever owned that can do that. But I learned a few lessons, and I'll go forward for the next trips. Thanks for watching.